today we will discuss about the team physio's responsibility in elite cricket. So what does a team physio do? Let's have a deep dive into this role. Okay, so what's the role of the physio? There are clinical responsibilities. Okay, the physio will be contributing into the musculoskeletal injury diagnosis and management. The injury can be on field, the injury can be off field. So when there is an on-field injury, the physio's responsibility is to go make an assessment and de-risk the player from further aggravation or further harming the tissue. So basically, the physio will run in, okay, make an assessment whether there is anything the physio can do to de-risk that issue by any strapping, by any taping, or by any biomechanical adjustment. And if that's the case, the physio will address it, and the player can play, and the team's interest is taken care of. If the player has to be pulled out of the playing ground, then obviously the first question will be asked is, okay, how long have I got, or how long this player has got, or how bad is the injury? So in that moment, the physio has to be very clear in the diagnosis first, in the assessment, in whatever, if the physio wants some time to make an assessment, the physio has to be very clear saying, okay, this is the clinical diagnosis, but I still like to go and discuss with specialists to make a decision on the timelines of what's available. Obviously, then there will be questions asked, okay, the player can continue for the next game or not. All those decision makings, the physio has to make either on his own or in coordination with a specialist if the physio thinks so. So that clarity of thought processes, that clarity of diagnosis have to be very, very precise. Okay, the physio will also coordinate with the team SNCs and the team coaches in injury prevention and performance enhancement. So what happens on normal match day is the physios will screen the players for some biomechanical flaws. Probably something is tight, something is loose. So the physios will address that. Then they will relay the information to the team SNCs. The team SNCs will address it in their warm-ups, and then the player will go to the normal skills warm-ups and then continue to go and play the game. So, but it's like a free flow of communication between all the team support staff, so that the player is de-risked, or the minor things which can be addressed without the player being pulled out or without the player getting injured, that can be done in a flawless manner. The physio and the SNCs will also contribute in the bowling workloads. Workload doesn't mean that the player has to be stopped from bowling. Workload could be that the player is under bowling and you are highlighting it to the team bowling coach saying, okay, this player is not bowled enough, and if he goes and bowls in a particular game, he might have chances to break down. So it's about communication to the team coaches about the workload so that you can contribute in avoiding the spikes of bowling. The physios will also contribute in compliance of the medical and the anti-doping guidelines. For example, most of the teams at present do not have a team doctor. Ideally, that should be the situation. But in case if there is no team doctor, the physio should be clear in the concussion management guidelines. They should be very clear, okay, if a concussion has happened or concussion has not happened. And if a concussion has happened, what's the process of managing that concussion? If there is no concussion, but there are still chances of delayed concussion, what are the protocols of managing it? The coaches or the administrators will want to be very clear on whether the player is available to play the next session or play the next day in a test match situation or something like that. So clarity of thought processes. Obviously, the physio can go and consult a specialist if there is no doctor, or even the match day doctor over there, to make that decision making. But once that decision making is done, it has to be done with absolute clarity. Okay, so what kind of environment is this? It's a multidisciplinary environment. It's a team support staff. The support staff consists of the physios, the SNCs, the skill coaches, the team manager, the team media guy, the mashers, everyone, the throwdown guys, everyone is the team support staff. And it is an environment when everyone contributes to the well-being of the player and how you can get the player on the field so that the player can execute himself for the benefit of the team. So the physio's role come in when there is an injury or there is a niggle, and the communication has to start with the skill coaches, the administrators, where the physio has to be very clear on the thought processes on what he or she is communicating to all stakeholders, and obviously the communication has to be consistent. The physios will also have to have knowledge on various other aspects like radiology. They have to have discussions with medical experts, they have to have discussions with podiatrists, biomechanists. In the interest of the team, in the interest of the player, they have to make some decisions along with those experts. So the physios will have to have some overlap of knowledge or some knowledge on those aspects. There might be situations where, especially during COVID times, infection control experts will want to know what is happening in the team, blah, blah, blah. So obviously if there is a team doctor, well, good enough, your responsibility is gone. But if there is no team doctor, then the physios also have to double up as that bridge between the team and the medical experts outside. So it's a multidisciplinary environment. Physio. And what kind of work culture is this? The work culture basically, say you are living with your patient. It's in an outpatient setup, it's easy. You can meet the patient for 5-10 minutes and you push off, the patient is out. But here, the work culture is like you are living with your patients day in and day out, in the bus, in the room, in the dining area, in the team environment, the dressing room. So if a player is not recovering well, that will be a challenge, because you are living with your patients. Basically, the expectations, the elite environment expectations are high. The players are highly motivated to kind of get on to the field as soon as possible. So there will be quite a challenge in this environment. Obviously, the work hours have to be very, very flexible. Sometimes you are woken up in the middle of the night saying, oh, I've got a knee pain, and tomorrow morning you are traveling, and then the next day you are playing a game. So you have to address it early morning. So you've got an intimation in the night, and probably you have to address it before the team departs to the next venue. So basically you have to align everything. If you have to go for a scan or an injection or whatever, so you have to align everything before the team departs. So the work environment has to be very flexible. Again, you are your own secretary. You have to make your appointments. You have to download the scans, send the scans to specialists, whatever. So you are your own secretary in this environment. Say, I'll give you an example where the team, say you make your appointments, you make the schedule. You give the appointments to the players, and once you reach a senior player, he or she will kind of say, no, I want this appointment, and then the entire schedule goes for a toss. So you have to be flexible, you have to be quite patient in this environment. Obviously, you are your inventory manager, you have to have a control of your stocks, you have to kind of be on top of it, because you are traveling, so you might not get things at particular venues, so you have to think ahead and you have to plan your inventory in that way. The communication has to be very seamless. The communication to the administrators, communication to the coaches, it has to be very, very seamless. The whom to communicate, when to communicate, what to communicate, acting in the interest of the player, all those things will matter. So communication is very, very crucial, and also to the highest level of integrity. We have got instances where you will be called at 1 o'clock in the night in your hotel room, and we called and said with that tone saying, okay, I'm speaking from the BCCI secretary's office and we haven't got a report on a particular player, but that happens to be a media calling, making a fake call to get reports out of you. So basically your integrity level has to be so high and you have to be so clear in your thought processes that you do not, there are a lot of information which has to be protected in the interest of the player and the team, which cannot go out. And there are highly motivated players, there are non-motivated players as well. So basically a highly motivated player would want to play at any cost, but again in that way, in that scenario you have to protect the interest of the team. Because if a player plays half fit, you're letting the team down. The other way around as well. If a player is non-motivated, but the team wants him, and you know that the player is injury free, or there are no hurdles for that player to participate, you have to motivate that player. So the work culture is very different. The work culture involves a lot of flexibility, lot of tough environments. Hope this explains the roles and responsibilities of a team physio. So basically it's clinical as well as non-clinical. Both the responsibilities have to be approached in a very standard and very clear manner. Basically the physio has to be very clear in the thought processes. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Good luck. And we'll catch up at some time. Thank you.
Thank you.